Hello everyone, and really nice to see so many persons here who are interested in UPM source to pay transformation journey. And I got the big stage. This is also inspiring. My name is Jukka-Pekka and I work for a company, Biofor company UPM. And let me explain a bit more UPM to you. I'm also very inspired of our visionary purpose, which is we create the future and beyond fossils. And I think the world needs that more than ever. We are producing basically wood-based raw materials and low-carbon energy, and we are delivering that through our main 6 business areas. Actually, we have more businesses altogether. We have 55 different production sites and almost 20,000 employees in 44 countries. I walked through a bit the decision when we established this our source to pay operation organization, and that was roughly 2017. But before that, maybe a couple of comments also that in UPM we don't talk about GPS as such. We actually started our journey already 10 plus years when we established the first shared service center functionalities. And nowadays we have clearly extended scope what we are delivering for our businesses and also together with our businesses. But let's go through this source to pay. One big thing what we did, we clearly wanted to take the full ownership of end-to-end process ownership. And nowadays we have actually 4+ global process owners, including our supplier data. And I'm really happy about that capability, what we have succeeded in building during the last years. Second thing, of course, this digital transformation. And with our teams, we have had a significant contribution to our ERP renewals, for example, during the last years. Not forgetting the cost, of course, and group synergies, really to achieve this kind of an advanced UPM scope to scale productivity and economies of skill. Let's remember that our platform is really like a competence-based platform. And then what comes to sourcing, enable strategy sourcing to focus more on growth, innovation and profitability. And now I come also to very crucial point is this promote effective collaboration across our functions, across our businesses. We are also talking about one team approach, and that has been one of the key focus areas for us during the last 2 years. And we strongly believe that this joint organization, which we have together with finance and sourcing, so or let's say that the 1 + 1 is more than 2 in our case. And really we have dedicated teams for specialized tasks, and really I have a good trust on our diverse and engagement teams, how they are really performing and delivering our goals. And really, of course, promoting new ways of working. So this is really in the core of what we are promoting nowadays. Then, when we look at our journey, we started this officially around 2018, and we established this organization. That time I remember we had roughly 40 FTEs, and nowadays we have 140. The amount of FTE is not the thing here. I think the thing here is that we have gone through a really big change, many changes in different phases. And this organization is really like a combination of operations and development capabilities. Sorry. Another key milestone for us has been our business process model. And I'm not going through all details, it's 200 pages, so maybe not time for that today. But really that describes how we operate. That is the backbone for our operations also. Then third key milestone for us has been that we have a solid business hub network across globe. We have a few global business hubs and then regional ones. And we established a new and actually currently the biggest business hub in Poland during the COVID time. And I'm really happy how we did, because that was more or less this kind of remote work what we lived that time. And there we have really end-to-end capabilities to develop and deliver the things what we have in our scope. And what comes to scope still, we are covering nowadays very much procurement activities, whether it's direct or indirect. We are doing very much supplier management related activities and risk management, so on top of the traditional finance stuff. And also, I would say a very big thing for us has been that what comes to digi and data strategy in UPM, we started that renewal a few years ago with the executive sponsorship. And across UPM, all our businesses, all our functions, including my scope, what we are going through today. So we defined the digi strategy where we want to be in coming years. And same time, we have been implementing the full-scale data digi platform. I think many of us have the similar modern capabilities and also developing our own competence. And knowing this volatile environment what we have had during the years, so once again coming back a bit to basics, so process excellence, in our case meaning still focusing on efficiency, effectiveness, but more and more experience. We are somehow like past the middle point, so there is work to be done, but we have taken clear steps from sub-process management to end-to-end process optimization. And really understanding that how we can drive so-called digital value and experience. We are doing very much this process development work together with our business stakeholders. We have like a specialty small groups who are doing this work. And that's part of how we get the business buy-in finally in our organization. One of the strengths in UPM is actually this continuous improvement. I would say that it's part of DNA, and that is what we have embedded in source-to-pay operations management more and more. And I think we are taking positive steps there. We are not ready yet, but that is one of the key focus areas. Let's look at how we are doing this actually, how we are using our data to manage our process execution. The very first thing what we implemented was to get this kind of real-time process visibility into our process flows. And this is really covering the whole source-to-pay landscape. And for example, for invoice-to-pay area, we have a near real-time capability. Every second hour the data is refreshed, and that is covering all day-to-day workflows, all KPIs, all performance gaps. So that is really, I would say, foundational part. How do we drive our processes and how we are really data-driven? Second big thing, what we have been implementing, especially this year, is our supplier management and risk management capabilities. Once again, one practical example, we have 24/7 risk screening in place what comes to our suppliers and compliance risk, for example. On top of that, we have built 360 view on our critical suppliers, including financial aspects, including environmental, social, governance, and operational type of risk elements. And that is work that we continue. And then, of course, knowing this AI, machine learning opportunities, that's very topical also for us. We are working on different use cases. Maybe one example what I can share here is that we have been implementing now roughly 1 year this ML capability for our non-PO invoices, and resulting in higher automation levels, reduce lead times, and more like this kind of spot-on accuracies. Here I also want to highlight a few key takeaways already now. So what do you need really to implement this kind of large-scale source-to-pay transformation, and what are those key capabilities in your operating model and in our case? The first thing, of course, is very much this backbone, so source-to-pay process model and related digital core, in our case, is very much built on SAP and other relevant tools. Then the second thing, of course, this end-to-end process visibility, because that is enabling you to have access to the root causes of performance gaps. And that has been very valuable for us during a couple of 2 years. Third thing is this global ownership, which is actually integrated with our operations hub very closely. And then really this talent management. I think one big thing what we got also when we opened this new business hub in Poland, that we got wider access to talent and skills that we needed and have needed. Without that, I think we wouldn't be here today with the speed what we have now. And then fourth, I think very interesting thing also is this so-called source-to-pay task force capability. What does that mean? In our case, we have a few black belt, green belt experts, a small group of people who are focusing on selected business problems. And they are making this kind of fast step changes using their capabilities and the business knowledge. And then once again, implementing more and more this kind of continuous improvement culture into day-to-day life. And I think all these together create new value for our company and businesses in different terms. Then one of the biggest, I would say, questions and around this data challenge is that what has been our response to this challenge and what has been our approach to this? To be fully data-driven organization by 25. Already I mentioned that this Digidata Vision work, that was a heavy exercise, almost 12 months, but that was crucial for us to build the focused roadmap. And the vision, yes, I mentioned already that we had this executive sponsorship and also great opportunities to invest in our data and related capabilities. Second thing, clearly, that we worked heavily on our roadmap, and our roadmap is very much value-based. We defined a few good use cases. We started with the small scope, and then we have scaled up. And I think that has been a good recipe, at least in our case. Really those spot-on use cases. And then competencies. We have worked on the competencies heavily also during the last 3 years and really understanding what is needed in the future. Some of the roles probably will change quite heavily, but all these competencies are actually complementing what we have already today. And then very important question is that, hey, what is this additional value that we are getting through these investments? And before you need to have that in order to get the investment also from our management. So that is crucial. And really how we can speed our source to pay transformation. And imagine this data complexity, and you have the same challenge probably, that in our case we are talking about almost millions of different data transactions. We have multiple internal, external data sources that we are using. We have several optimization points in different businesses. And the businesses are quite different in our case. But although data is a challenge, I would say it's more opportunity for us. It's like the data ecosystem, including selected partners, including our internal technology platforms and different kind of other competencies. But it's really ecosystem for us, and we have a solid governance model around that to maintain it and develop it. The benefits and lessons learned during our transformation journey. All in all, I would say that this has been very inspiring, but this has been also very challenging. What we have today is clearly that data analytics, that is like embedded in everyday decision. What comes to the dynamic operating environment, we need this enhanced real-time process monitoring and ability to respond quickly different changes. I have a strong trust on this combination of human and machine partnership. I think that's the way in the future how to increase, for example, productivity and make the job roles more smarter also in the future. Increasing amount of different ESG requirements. Now we have some kind of ability to respond to that challenge also, and all the time we need to be better at that. But we have already good data, and we are able to make further actions based on the capability what we have built. We have discussed very much about the purpose today, and I think that's I would say, one of the biggest focus areas for us also in the short term. Without purpose, you don't have talent available. Every day you need to feel that, hey, I have an important role here. And that is important also for me as a leader, that we are able to develop that kind of culture in the future. And once again, this end-to-end process visibility, I'm really happy about what we have today. And then the scalability. In our company also, we have had quite big investments growing our businesses, and then other changes also. And this platform, what we have built, gives us an opportunity to adapt these business changes. What are those key lessons learned? I would say today that, hey, at first, you need to define your value-driven data and digi roadmap and related goals. Clearly, my learning is very much that we have needed strong data engineers, analysts, who have actually developed different kind of new capabilities what we have today. And then third thing is that, as I said, this is not easy always, and people need time to learn and to practice. And in this kind of multi-business environment, there is a lot of complexity. Let's take that as one challenge also, that how to reduce the amount of complexity. That's a positive challenge for me. And lastly, one of our core values is renew with courage, and I think that we have kept in our mind every day, and without that I think the outcome wouldn't be so great and positive, so very important thing in our case. And it's very much around this innovation also. And finally, my last message maybe on this slide is that, hey, achieve together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jukka-Pekka. Very inspiring. So we have a few questions from the audience. There's a number of questions, and I think you shared with us that you're not driving or not having a traditional GBS or whatever GBS model people think about. Can you share a little bit more about this? Can you share, so do you have process ownership in the source to pay? Do you have other areas like in HR or in finance? I mean, basically, brief description of how your operating model in UPM works.
Yeah. Actually, we studied this GPS concept already some years ago. I cannot even remember, with our executive management. And I think our approach was more that, hey, we have, for example, these big process areas, source to pay is one of those, that, hey, you have actually freedom to think about your operating model, that how to really build this kind of GPS type of capability in UPM. Mm-hmm. And there was some kind of artistic freedom, we call it, that how to do it. And basically we have like three main process areas, which are actually part under finance organization, under our CFO management. Although my organization is doing very much for sourcing, but that has been a common agreement with our CPO also.
So this is one of the three, then the source to pay? You said you have three, okay.
Yeah, we had then, for example, this record to report, and then we have this order to cash, for example. And then our businesses, they have a more business-specific, process scopes. But for source to pay, we are actually delivering cross businesses. So this is like a cross-business competence-based platform.
It's a cross-function and cross-business. Yeah. Excellent. We have a few questions on return on investment. So you said it was one of the three growth initiatives.
Yeah.
How easy it was to get investment? I guess growth initiative probably you've got. And how has the ROI been, the return on investment? Is that something you've tracked, measured?
And you mean now this data investments or
Well, in general, your source to pay transformation, right?
Of course, we have invested quite a lot in this capability all in all. I need to say also that what comes to like amount of FTEs, all are not like external recruitments. We have done tens of different kind of changes within the whole UPM organization. Okay. But clearly what comes to this data digi, we have had, I would say, quite high funding for these initiatives through these last 3 years. I'm extremely happy about that. Okay. And that management decision and how our, let's say, really top management have seen the opportunity. Yeah. So we have invested in people, data, technology, you name it. Okay.
We have a few questions on technology. I think you touched on it. You said ERP and then some of the more DG data, real time. We just have 30 seconds, but maybe can you say something about the data platform, maybe the choices of technology you've made, how much is, core SAP versus other, and what allows you to get real-time data
Yeah.
or close to near-time data?
In UPM, we have defined a so-called future business architecture, and that is based very much on SAP technology, and many of our businesses already are using S4 solutions. And on top that, we have built SAP Ariba, mostly for sourcing,
Ariba.
procurement, and then for invoice management, we are using one Finnish-based company, which is called Busware also. And then
One
what
of our
comes to
sponsors.
data platforms, so I think very well known this Azure Data Lake solutions and Power BI type of solution. What I didn't actually mention that we have worked a lot on this process mining and this process execution management. We are complementing that very much nowadays with the process mining capability, and we have quite a few good use cases around that already now.
Perfect. Jukka-Pekka, we are at time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you sharing